is this thing working? Did it update? I don't know. Let's assume it updated. Alright. So, I do have these modes because I did complete the game once and it is amazing. But my friend told me to just do a new game. Also, I'm curious what happens if I hit continue since I beat the game. What is it going to pick up? Was this just before the last level or something? Oh, I think I know when this is. Okay, cool. Whatever. So. Yeah. Exit main menu. And I'm going to start a new game on normal. So I am using the keyboard for this. I started the game with a keyboard.
Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though. And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling.
So, as I was saying,
Kid just rages for a while.
I am using the keyboard. I started off with the keyboard actually, and eventually I got a controller. And because this game is apparently meant for a controller, there's just things about that kind of all over the place. I think it's originally made for Xbox. I'm not sure. But I tried it with a controller.
An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber.
So I played with the controller for a while, but what I realized is that the aiming functionality just isn't very consistent. I try to shoot for one thing and I would just miss, because there's no targeting reticle or anything. See, I can like actually look at what I'm aiming at.
Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting.
And there's no way to like
sometimes you just need a drink.
Accurately aim when you have a controller. So I went back to using my keyboard.
Must have fled here from the mines.
I mean, I guess I could have used the shift, the aim thing more, where you hold shift and it just basically aims for you. Oh shit, I missed something.
He sets foot inside one of Zelandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him for his drinking dead. Then Kid finds his trusty shield.
I didn't mean to pick up those apples.
The security takes him for a petty thief. clang. Shield saves his hide. Windbags start turning up for last call.
I don't remember it being quite this easy.
More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke.
So for a while, a breaker's bow was actually like my favorite weapon.
Kid spies a good perch.
Or at least part of my favorite weapon combo.
Knows he should draw the string all the way back. The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest man in the land. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Right back at you.
Oh, I can hit anything.
Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner.
Okay.
He finds the distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man.
I think I can get away with this because I'm more skilled than I was the first time I played the game.
The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job.
Oopsies. And, so I don't need health. Crit would be nice, I could kill things faster. But not necessarily. 10% isn't exactly a lot. So I figure I'll just kind of
Some of them squirts
make something
buzzing
easy
like
for
crazy
myself
in a couple of corn bins.
by using the fetching fizz. Besides, the crit only works when you're at full health.
That one was Maud, the tutor. Once taught the kid good manners. He never used them, though. Old ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Kid takes a chunk of alloy. Smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Robs a scumbag of his last meal. Kid puts him out of his misery.
So like this part is a lot easier with fetching fizz. Huzzah!
Kid better watch his step. He finds the core to the Wharf District. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. Well, down he goes. Down toward the Bastion.
Oh no!
Now the kid sees something stranger still.
Oh, I took you too
Mind
fast.
races.
Missed a bunch of
Did anybody else
experience.
survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest. Enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there. Then watch. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again. Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply.
Nope. This one.
Where whiskey has no scent, but tastes like a pepper boot heel, it's not for everyone. The Skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands.
Let's go to the proving grounds.
The breakers used to come here for target practice. Used to play a little game. See who could bust the most targets in the fewest shots. He's focused. He's armed. And he's off.
So if I take one shot there, 2 shots. I'm not sure I can do this in less than 5. But I feel like there ought to be a way. Oh, they didn't even die.
A perfect shot just happens in a flash.
Was I not getting power shots or something? I'm not. I'm bad at this. Okay. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Oh god, I'm bad.
Kid ain't done bad at all.
Nah, I did pretty bad. Why am I getting that piece of upgrade equipment so freaking early? Holy crap. 10 shots of fear, I can do that.
Kid ain't had enough of the Breaker's barracks. Takes practice, and a mighty strong bow helps too. Puts on the right solid performance.
Five shots or fewer. And just mess up one of those shots. So, let's try again, shall we? That was a power shot but didn't pierce him? Bollocks. So really, to beat this level, in this proving ground, what you need is timing to be able to get a power shot each time. Another thing is that... Oh, I just messed that up. If you want to be sure that your shots are lined up properly, use the shadows of the... whatever the hell these floating things are. Use the shadows and the white line. Oh, come on. Sorry, you're gonna watch me do this over and over again until I get it right. Because it shouldn't be that hard. Although I guess I don't need it. All I get is a new secret skill, which isn't necessary.
He's feeling real proud of that show.
Actually, the breaker volley is pretty useful. Oh, this isn't what I wanted to do. Let's go back to the Bastion.
I almost don't believe it when he says he passed the Breaker's challenge.
Right. Anywho. Onward. Then I broke it. Wait, that's the Bastion? Oh, that's the... Okay. The Workman Ward. Let's do it.
Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets. But which one? He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time. Kid ain't ever seen an elephant squirt before. Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. No sign of the core here. At least the kid got something for his trouble. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful in a pinch. Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock. Know why gas fellas all dress alike? Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. A blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. And now there's a new marshal in town.
Should have killed some of those other gas fellas. That could have been a lot more XP.
He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole. He heads for the biggest dump in town, Scumbag Alley.
They'll just
He
kind of
heads for
walk
the
off.
east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. Inside the forge, Kid can fine-tune those instruments of his. With a good length of Miska, that bow's like new again. Odd place to find the likes of Percy the Snitch. Never much cared for that big wide grin of his.
I lost my squirt. Again. Cool.
And there he is, the oldest scumbag of them all, Gershel. The calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition. Kid cuts up Gershel like a vine apple. Old scumbag didn't feel a thing. Kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. The rest of the path is gone for good, and his city crest won't bring it back.
I'm a big fan of just destroying everything. case you hadn't noticed. I think Tasmanic can come down here and kill one swords. Maybe not. Oh well.
He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. The windbags used to be alright. Then the calamity took the floor out from under him. Can't be too careful these days. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here.
But basically, the Breaker's Bow ends up doing just ridiculous damage. It's one of the highest damage items in the game.
The kid was out.
It's got a melted pot.
In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the calamity, it had to be stab weeds. It cuts down every stab weed like there's gonna be a prize for it. Blasted things hurt like a broken heart. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down.
Oh, hi,
Stuck
Core.
inside one of those fancy cages. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squirt's born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while.
See, I could heal up, but I'm waiting for Were Whiskey to kick in. There we go. Oh, and then of course I heal Word up after it.
Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Heard him pop that mean old foreman.
Oh, those are friendly. Okay.
At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes. Maybe 30. Hard to tell. It's territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up.
I don't need to use those mines. I get experience for collecting unused black tons.
One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. It's a troublesome scene, to be sure. It ain't all bad, as the kid finds some spices from the motherland, tax-free. A few moments left, and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7. You give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done.
Holy crap, I can't get my shield up. Okay, even when I do get my shield up, he still knocks me open. Brilliant.
He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge.
Ah, here we go. Oh, that took off.
I still remember the look on his face after that one. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. The little Zolwood oil and that blade shines like a light. The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to.
Yeah, let's see if I can do it.
Windbag Ranch was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful.
So one thing I learned is that the beginning is very important.
Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Still others used the place to test their finest blades.
Alright, see, now that I killed all those squirts, there's so many less just kind of wandering around for me to kill later. Oh, I don't have a shield. Okay.
Squirts can be dangerous, like any livestock.
Oh, there's nothing over there. Okay.
Slippery little devils.
See, this is the part that sucks. Like, even when you...
You'd make sure
Okay, there we
of
go.
them things.
Even when you throw the thing, they still don't necessarily get hits. So they can just move out of the way because travel time of your
Always
projectile.
time for juice and squirts, they used to say.
Oh, I didn't check how much time I needed for
At least the little fellas can't feel a thing. Some squirts tried to flee on instinct. Best to put them away first before they rile up the others.
Okay, that's not working. Ah! Balls. There we go. I think that's the same time as my previous attempt. Under 60 seconds. Okay.
The ranch was always looking for good help.
You know what I should do? Well, no, I guess it doesn't matter so much. Yeah, that was risky. Oh, what? Ah, well, I fucked this one up.
There's always more squirts to go around.
Ah, come on.
Kid
There we go.
carves through all of them in a flash.
Ghost blade. All right.
Well, the kid's gone and struck terror in the hearts of squirts everywhere.
Yeah, this little guy though. Ow. Yeah, I guess I can upgrade this.
War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Ceylondia. It was good living here for a while. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. Somebody gets to the core before the kid. Floor starts giving way under the lightest step. The single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. So could a reckless kid, for that matter. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Stray valuables are lying everywhere. Kid thinks twice about risking his hide for them.
No, I don't.
Well, the path ain't exactly open to visitors no more.
Oh, ricochet. Oh, I can't go that way. Don't you know?
See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Not so much for noise and tomfoolery. Quick and careful is the only way to go. Sky bridges link the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Finds a spyglass, like the ones they'd used to search the stars. Air travel always was an iffy proposition.
Whoopsies.
The calamity changed everything, even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Scumbag ate it by mistake. Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. Find time to find them. Wires to toss those things plenty far away. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. In all this toil, kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming Bastion. Who else could have survived the calamity? So he didn't find the core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. We could always see the stars. We just never could reach them, no matter.
Excuse me.
A bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff.
Oh, hold on.
Turns out those old bones still have some spark in them. No place better than Trapper Shingle for learning to tread light and shoot straight. Trappers had to tread real carefully, else take a nasty fall. They train themselves by clearing out the targets, while not clearing out the floor.
It's the right. Okay.
Any good trapper knows never to take a step till the time is right.
Oh, this is fucked up.
Master trappers.
Fuck yeah.
Better hunt.
I had a much harder time the first time, or on my first playthrough of this game. I had to do that several times. Maybe it's just the faster reload time? I don't know.
The trappers would have been impressed with how the kid handled the shingle.
Actually, fuck, I don't care. I considered going back and seeing what upgrades I'd gotten. If I'd gotten any from my weapons, but...
The
yeah.
dead welcome him with open arms.
I love this soundtrack.
The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. You don't much care to see him. Not like this. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close.
Is this where I meet Zolf?
It was someone like him. Kid sees him there agape, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nordy, the bird boy, didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here.
That's a cat.
Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we?
Hold on. Okay, never mind.
The core survived as well.
Whoopsies.
Kid does what he has to do.
Oh, I recognize this place. This comes back to you later in the game.
And then? What do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zolf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other for the first time. He was born in the Tazal terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. Zolf offers to help me plot the skyways for the kid. At least the calamity hasn't touched the stars, he says. For Zolf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. The cores, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right. Well, look what we have here. Here, a kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction, just another one of my sketches, nothing more. Words can't express what happened, but they're all I got. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Pith Orchard. Place is a dead end in more ways than one. Folks used to make pilgrimage here, pay their respects to Pith, the bull. Well, the gods are long gone now, and the Orchard core is long gone too. The gods ain't gonna catch you if you fall. Seems Pith ain't much of a watchdog. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. Pith stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. Pith makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pith lights up like a rodeo. Ain't easy punching through his hide. Kid breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods? Or tell them off? Pith. Kid decides to press his luck. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. Kid ain't never seen windbags that quick. Maybe old Pith put a scare in him. Kid passes Pith's trial, and he's richer for it.
Oh, I've already been here. Cool.
Kid ain't found the core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. Now we can build a shrine of our own, though I got some alternatives in mind. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. The Gravers, they are Majestus. They seemed unstoppable. The Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. This gets you a lot of practice defending and countering.
Some used to take the bullhead trial.
Oh fuck. Do the gods
Survive the trial without taking
participate?
a scratch, you'd walk away a free man.
See, if Pith is active during this proving ground, then I'm boned.
The bullhead trial taught folks three things. First, a good defense is a good offense. Second, gotta always watch your back. Third, ain't no godlike bull up there gonna save you.
So I think I've already lost this because I made a sloppy mistake. See, you have to be able to do this without taking more than 3 hits for first prize. And the very last level is, or the very last monster creature thing you fight, it's almost impossible to do that. And I've already taken my 3 hits, so alright, this is the last one. See, even if you technically defend against this guy and use your shield, he still kind of bursts and his slime will go all over the place. And you still take hits, just for walking through it. So basically what you gotta do is lure him to the very edge. And, oh, I have my weapons back. Cool. So yeah, basically you just gotta lure him to the very edge and wait for him to dash and then move out of the way. So that you don't ever really get close to him and he just kills himself.
It was this godlike bull watching over him. Had to make do with nothing but a shield.
Like, you literally can't defend against that squirt bags. Or not squirt bag. I don't remember what he's called, but... Hold on. If he dashes at you, that big blue ball at the end, then even if you raise your shield and do a counterattack, like I said, that goop still kind of bursts out and you'll still take a hit from that. So it's impossible to defend against that last guy without taking a hit. I'm doing bad against these guys. It's always safer to err on the side of, well, safety. So, things to look out for on this level. I mean, these turrets are pretty self-explanatory. When their shots get near you, put up your shield. The squirts, they kind of glow orange just before they attack. So when you see them with like those orange dots around them, that's when you put up your shield. These guys, they'll go up to the top of their swing, and then they'll actually start vibrating just a little bit. And that's when you know to put up your shield. And this guy, since I've already lost, I'll just go ahead and show you. See, he has that goop. I'm trying to walk through it, and I'm taking hits. I can counter him, and I still get hit. And there's just really nothing I can do about it. Well, that time I kind of messed up. But so, let me do this again. So turrets are easy so long as they're not on two sides of you and you don't have a windbag to deal with. Windbags, they raise up and then they start to shake violently. And that's when you want to counter. Bam. See, these guys take so long to rev up that it throws me off. And I try to defend too early. These guys are a little tricky, just because some of their shots will go around you, some of them won't. Basically, they're just not very accurate. So they can throw you off. And basically you just gotta wait until you just keep throwing your shield up until they shoot and are accurate enough that you actually can defend it. Because if their first few shots are off, then you don't want to take down your shield, because you'll just take a hit. And it'll basically cost you the level. Oh, what? I was facing the wrong direction. How does that happen? That never happens. Oh, ball sacks. Another thing is that you can't... Okay. Have you played Halo? And you know how you can like switch between two weapons really rapidly? You can't do that in this game. Maybe you can with like two like actual weapons, but you can't do that with your shield. It's just slow. You can't be defending 1 second, then stop defending and re-defend the next second. It's just not that fast. Actually, might still be able to do this. Nope. So I'll go ahead and restart. Oh man, it's 10:30. So when you have multiple turrets popping up around you like that, positioning can be very important. You don't want to be in a position where you can be defending against one and still take a shot from another. That's the kind of stuff that'll lose you this level. Oh yeah, I forgot about the squirts. Sometimes you gotta get close to them before they'll decide to start attacking you. And actually I've just decided that at the very end, it'll be easier to lure the one thing off the edge if there's not debris in the way, which will make its movements harder to predict. Except destroying rocks is kind of difficult, but shit, yeah, I was standing way too close to that guy. That was just sloppy on my part. Wait, I killed them all? Awesome. I don't exactly know how, but... Oh, right. Moment of truth. Easy peasy.
Kid pulls it off like it was nothing.
So that guy, you know, he's about to lunge at you when he kind of starts changing size, or throbbing or whatever. He'll pulse like once or twice, and then you gotta get out of the way. So, next level. The Cinder Brick Fort.
There's only one way into Cinder Brick Fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. The calamity was mercy for normal folks. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze or starve or face the kid.
So those turrets, if you noticed, their shots ricocheted. You can still counter, but they might just bounce off of something behind you and still end up whacking you. They can also kind of kill each other every once in a while, which is kind of nifty. What's up the
Well,
stairs?
windbags, young and old, keep fighting for the fort.
I'll go this way first. I should probably heal. I love this weapon.
At least the marshals left the kid up.
This weapon, I actually ended up using until the very end of the game.
Windbags just can't handle. Something that'll punch clean through their greasy hides.
Oh man, I forgot how wide it is.
Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The Calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this.
So one of the reasons why the scrap musket is so awesome is not only because it has a wide area of attack, but especially after you upgrade it, it knocks back enemies. So when you have a horde of them chasing after you, or just one or two tough ones that don't die easily, you can just keep kind of dashing, shoot, dash, shoot, and they just can't get to you. You could also even like stand still, relatively still, and just keep shooting, and it'll just keep knocking them back, and if they're slow, they won't be able to reach you, because you'll just be knocking them back too much. Now, I almost said something about it before, but those turrets that shoot the kind of like pink balls that travel really slowly, those seek you out. So you can actually block them or counter them even, but they just kind of go around behind you. And they'll just hit you from behind. So they're kind of tricky and you gotta watch out for them.
Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame them for wanting it, though.
Like these spinny guys are really good. Again, scrap musket is pretty good against them. Except in this sort of situation.
So many of those sorry things hold up inside that old fort.
Another thing is that if you're shooting boxes, the scrap musket will actually knock them back down, which keeps enemies from spawning for a little longer.
Not a scratch on him as he presses on the higher ground.
So see how it just goes back down to the ground and nothing comes out of it? I actually don't... I think you need a knockback to do that. Any weapon with a knockback would work. I don't know how many of them there are. There's a few, at least. You might need upgrades for some of them. But the scrap musket is wonderful for it. I just think this is one of the best weapons in the game.
Kid's blasting everything in sight with that newfangled musket.
And for a while, actually, I think I already mentioned that the Breaker's Bow was one of my favorite weapons or something. It just does a lot of damage and whatnot. I think that for a while, I actually used Scrap Musket and Breaker's Bow. Actually, there's an arsenal. Maybe I can go back and get that pair. Then again, I do have somewhat of a crit build for my machete. And it does have a long range attack. So I guess let me explain a little bit more. Scrap musket is great for close range combat. It's basically a shotgun. Its damage actually isn't too great, but it's very effective in a lot of situations. But what I realized is that the Breaker's bow has a lot more range. First off, you can snipe things with the Breaker's bow from a distance, and then when there's a lot of enemies, or when they just start getting close, then you can use the scrap musket to blast them away. That's why I like crits right there. And I don't know what secret skill it wants me to use.
Security's plane gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works.
So these turrets are fire, which means you can't really get too close to them. You can kind of walk up, blast them, and run away.
Kid ain't afraid of getting burned.
It's a little risky. But crits make everything better.
They trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds.
Yeah, so scrap musket, short range. I would say moderate damage, moderate to low damage. Low damage if you're far away from something.
Kid takes down Ludus. Maybe it was Blandon. They got something to gain, and all of their sorry hides to lose.
Another great thing about the scrap musket is you can actually blast a lot of enemies off the edge of the map with it. Especially once you get some of the knockback upgrades.
The other big fella soon joins his brother, wherever they are now.
One thing to keep in mind about the scrap musket is that it does actually knock you back a little bit too. So don't stand right next to the edge of the map when trying to use it.
He used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. The Skyway's a welcome sight after all that. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was a smoking pipe.
Now the pipe is a pretty cool thing.
The marshal seemed like a good man, he said.
I'll show you in a bit.
They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals.
I'll just go ahead and try to keep this combo for now. So I guess
Anything survives a musket shot ought to be quick work for that blade.
Did I get a core? I did.
Zulf's
Cool.
travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. Behold, the Pantheon.
So I recommend getting the shrine as soon as you can, and I feel like a Kobe is a pretty easy what do they call it? A god to invoke. You invoke it. That's what they call it. Pith is actually more difficult, which is why it gives a 10% increase to experience and fragments. Akobe gives 5%, but it's an easy 5%.
The gods never liked competing for people's affections.
You basically just gotta not be standing right next to an enemy when they die.
Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him.
I've never actually... I don't think I've ever used this combo. I'm gonna check what upgrades I can get really quick. No, that's not it. Ah, scrap musket. Awesome. So personally, I prefer range and less spread.
You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel.
I don't feel like you typically need that much range for it. Or that much spread for it. Oh, Kale Hammer. And this thing. I'll try this. I might need another upgrade for it.
Ever felt
The hammer.
Gourd, like picking up broken glass barehanded?
The hammer.
Would grow. Marshals learn to make every shot count.
The hammer, on the other hand, is something where you really kind of do need
The
upgrades,
trick
I
was to
think.
pop all those nasty gourds without wasting ammo.
So the thing is, he says pop these gourds, but you don't actually pop them. Really all you're doing is just shooting them off
Those
the edge of the
marshals
map.
didn't get far on their first few tries.
So you stand close to a thing and shoot.
Had to catch a bunch of those gourds in a single shot.
Ah, crap, I missed this one.
Funny thing about muskets is they work best up close. The best of the best clear
First
the course
prize.
in just a few shots.
There you go. Easy peasy. So now I got another upgrade for a scrap musket. I got an upgrade for something I won't use yet. But something that is pretty cool in the end.
Kid probably could have made himself marshal one day.
Oh, right, so... Nope, we're just down here. Let's upgrade my scrap musket again. Generally, I like
Marshals learn to
knockback.
pack those shells full of fire.
Or maybe I had damage earlier, I don't know. But with knockback, you can basically just keep enemies away, which helps a lot for survival. And over time, you'll end up killing them. Now, I am going to go ahead and switch to this. Just because what I'm about to do...
You're so zesty, it'll let you carry on through the worst of times.
The thing I'm about to do doesn't actually just have fragments all over the
Kid
place.
collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history.
Alright, so this is basically a testing ground. To try out new weapons, try out new secret skills, stuff like that. Oh shit, I forgot how fast these guys are. Pith is one of the gods that I don't generally
The path
activate on
catches
here.
up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life. Supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie.
Alright. So you can see enemies are dropping grenades. That's what happens when you have the Kobe, was it?
He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his.
So when you have a Kobe activated, squirts can be really dangerous because there's just swarms of them.
Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there.
And when you kill a swarm of enemies, you get grenades everywhere, and it can be a lot more difficult to dodge and stay alive. Let's see. So, more about where I am.
School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money.
Like I said, this is kind of just a testing ground.
What was I saying? Anyway,
I should have healed sooner. It's just sort of like an experimental thing, and you just go through, and there's a bunch of levels. They call them
thanks
reflections.
to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it.
And basically, this just ends up being a good way, an effective way, kind of the only way to farm up money and experience, if that's what you want to do. And I find that one of the most important things on this map is mobility.
Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too.
Because as you've seen, there are several instances where there's just a bunch of enemies that just kind of charge at you. And if you can't get away from them, then you're going to have a hard time. There's one god that causes enemies to basically slow you upon attack. And that's a god I've never invoked on here. And on the theme of mobility, these guys are the most annoying foes just because their sludge slows you down and it makes it hard to get anywhere, and it slowly takes away at your
City had
health.
nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either.
These guys are the other really hard ones, especially with Pith invoked, just because they move fast and they're just really hard to avoid. And with so many of them just attacking, it can get pretty painful.
So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years.
Oh, balls. Something else I want to mention about this map is that it doesn't matter whether or not you pick up black tonics or not. Typically, hold on.
In the history of Ceylondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls.
On a typical level of this game, if you're at full health, or if you have 3 black tonics already and you pick up more, then you'll get extra experience. That does not happen on this map. So you can feel free to pick them up whenever you want, and you won't get any loss of experience. It's all dependent on how you use them.
Learn to fend for himself. Learn to build. Learn to break.
It's all dependent on whether or not you need the health, or whether or not you actually use the black tonics.
In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody.
And you may have seen me use it, but there are skyways on this map. There are 3 of them in basically the corners of the map. And those are basically just used for extra maneuverability.
One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart.
So say you're being surrounded on one side. Use a sky bridge and kind of jump to the other side of the map and you'll be okay. Or in better shape. Hopefully. One difficult thing about these guys is that their goo kind of splatters all over the map. So it can be kind of hard to avoid. One interesting thing about it though is you can actually block it. And even counter it, although counter doesn't
We
actually.
saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that.
Countering does not do damage to them. It basically just keeps the goo from landing anywhere near you.
All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back.
One thing about the skyways is that those spinning dudes, you cannot evade them with a skyway. Once you go through the skyway, they will start spinning, and their attack will hit you as you fly by.
Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him.
So these guys, you can kind of push down all the holes that form. It can be a little tricky though. In case you hadn't noticed, Where Whiskey is quite helpful. You just end up doing a lot more
Finally
damage.
arrived at Zealandia's vaulted safe haven. He and no one else.
It's risky though, because Where Whiskey requires you to be at low health. And obviously that can get you killed. These were the guys I was talking about. I used the sky bridge and they still hit me on my way out. Especially with Pith invoked, these guys just chase you down and they're a pain to deal with. Because there's several of them and they just surround you And they can't be knocked off the map either, they float. I'm actually not sure if that's the case with all windbags or not.
But then, all they got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me.
So yeah, I thought this was the final level, and indeed it is. You know, because of the fucking cow. Although I think I have Where Whiskey active. So that is useful.
Wait, where was I? I'd like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would.
So Where Whiskey helped. Stout Cider, I think it is, that gives you +1 chance to carry on. That is pretty helpful, especially if you have idols invoked. Idols, gods, whatever. I actually would have lost right there. Of course, I could have healed before I died, but I wanted to keep Where Whiskey active for as long as possible. So, because I did all that, I now have money. And because I did it with idols, I have more money than I would have otherwise.
Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. That ought to make those fangs sink in nice and deep.
Alright, so... yes, memorial.
The marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now.
So, I'll leave it at that, and I'll continue this in the future, as opposed to in the past, because I do that sometimes. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the flip side.